I'm an Orthodox rabbi ordained from Yeshiva University. I have been teaching in various capacities, both in my days in New York, as well as when I made Aliyah here. I taught in Machon Gold, at Midrash Torah. I teach here in the community, and I have, in the past few months, put out a book in English called Jacob's Family Dynamics, Climbing the Rungs of the Ladder. It's a book in English discussing Yaakov Avinu. It's a modern literary psychoanalytic study of Yaakov Avinu and his family from the time of his birth until the time of Rachel's death. It has received positive reviews, and also has approbations from Rabbi Lord Sachs, Chief Rabbi of the Commonwealth, and Rabbi David Foreman from now teaching in Woodmere. Not the Rabbi David Foreman of the Reforms, but Rabbi David Foreman of Woodmere. And I believe you can see online all of the various kind words that people have to say about the book. Just give a short brief about Torah. We're almost coming on to Pesach, and the Shabbat before Pesach is called Shabbat HaGadol. There's a few understandings of why it's called Shabbat HaGadol. Maran in Shulchan Aruch explains to us that Shabbat HaGadol is called so Mepenei HaNes She'erabo, because of the miracle that occurred on Shabbat HaGadol. What was this miracle? The common understanding of this miracle is that the Bnei Israel were commanded to take the lamb for the Korban Pesach in Egypt, and drag it through the streets and the marketplaces for the Egyptians to see, in plain view of the Egyptians. And for the Egyptians, this was one of their gods, of their idolatry, of Avodah Zarah. Normally, under such circumstances, we would expect the Egyptians to get irate, furious, angry with the Jewish people, and to be able to take their vengeance against them and to even kill them for taking offense against their gods. However, at this occasion, when the Jewish people took their sheep for the slaughter, for the Korban Pesach, the Egyptians were in awe and fear of the Jewish people, and nothing happened to them. And this was the great miracle of Shabbat HaGadol that took place on Yud Nisan, the year that the Jewish people left, fell out on Shabbat. So this is called Shabbat HaGadol. However, I'd like to make one more explanation, perhaps, that'll give us a better appreciation of what was so great what the Jewish people did in taking the Korban Pesach. We read in Shemot, in Parashat Vayera, that when the Jewish people wanted to leave, in the many times that Paro had said no, the negotiations were not consistent. Paro did not say no throughout. However, at one point in time, Paro broke down after the Makkah of Devar, after the Makkah of Arov, and he says here, if you'd like, Paro suggests, I will let you have your vacation. However, you'll need to take it in Egypt. You can't go out to the desert. And Paro says, make your korban to your God here in Egypt. It's not proper for us to behave in such a manner. Because the Egyptian God is what it is that we are going to sacrifice to our God. How could it possibly be that we're going to sacrifice the gods of the Egyptians and they will not stone us? I'd like to suggest that based on what we said before, that now that the Jewish people took the Korban Pesach and they sacrificed it while still in Egypt, they have now undermined the very essence of the need to leave Egypt. Moshe's argument to Paro was, we can't leave. We cannot stay. We must leave, because otherwise the Egyptians will stone us for sacrificing their God. However, now that the Jewish people are sacrificing Korban Pesach in Mitzrayim, and they're not being stoned, then there is no sacrificing to the Jewish gods that cannot take place within Egypt. Despite the pulling of the rug out of the logic of the Jewish people to leave Egypt, and they're willing to look Paro in the face and say, we don't have another reason to leave Egypt. We can bring our sacrifice. We only want to leave Egypt because we want to leave Egypt. That was the greatness of the Jewish people. That was the great miracle that occurred on Shabbat HaGadol. And that's what made it so great. בעזרת השם, בשלום בי זוכה, תחג כשר ושמח, תזכו לשנים רבות, נעימות